Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for another live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea winning a game of football. Chelsea winning a game of football at home. Would you believe it? And of course, Chelsea are involved, Brighton are involved. It's going to be an insane game of football. Loads of goals, loads of madness. And that's what it was. Gallagher being an absolute moron, getting himself sent off. And for some reason, some Chelsea fans on Twitter seemingly claiming that it was a harsh second yellow card. Completely disagree with that. We'll get into that. Later on, drama in injury time, 10 minutes of injury time. No one knew what for. All of a sudden, Brighton are given a penalty. No one realizes they were given a penalty. Then everyone sees in the replay, Colwill is hitting the head with the ball. The ref turns it over, but everyone's like, what's happening? Then Brighton clearly should have had a corner, but they didn't get that either. So no one really knows what's going on. Enzo Fernandez scores 2. Colwill scores against his lone club. It all kicks off after the final whistle. And of course, Chelsea nearly bottle it because that's what we are. And also, Caicedo nearly gets himself sent off as well. An absolutely mental game, but at the end of the day, a huge 3 points in our chase for God knows what, because I don't know what's realistic anymore. But a win is a win. And we will have to discuss whether it's a lucky win, a deserved win, just an insane game. It's a really, really tricky one. Pice, I'll start with you. First of all, thank you for being on. I know you hadn't planned to be here today. You were supposed to be at the game, but then certain train strikes, rail strikes, ruined your plans. So now you're here. So I'm happy. You are happy because we won, but you're not happy because you didn't go. So how do you feel now? Because your reaction was like, why are we so, like, we played awful. I don't know if it was awful. Gallagher obviously getting sent off so early kind of ruined everything as well. How do you feel, mate? At the end of the day, surely we're just more than anything else, we have to be buzzing that we actually won the game, no?
Bro, I just feel like I've been through like a Champions League final again. Like, honestly, what the fuck was that game? 110 minutes had it on. When they scored their second goal, I was like, yeah, that's it. We're going to bottle it. You're going to score. Something's going to happen last minute. Obviously, the penalty got awarded. As it turns out, he did award it. Then it was overturned, thankfully. Yeah. But the stream I was watching said that Greg Pawson didn't give a penalty and the VAR told him to give a penalty. So I was confused as hell. But look, thank God we got the 3 points. I don't want to see another performance like that because I think the reaction to that against Brighton, who literally like rotated so much, they'd arrived back.
I just didn't have anyone a better fit, really.
They had arrived back from Greece on Friday, and we had a whole week to prepare for this. I was expecting much more energy. I thought, the crowd and the players were really flat today. It just seemed like a weird one for me. I don't think there was, we created much in attack. But look, we got 3 points. This is what we need. We needed this so badly, and we can't complain. Like I tweeted out, we've played much better than this and lost, which feels worse. Like this was kind of like a little bit of the old Chelsea at the end. Like digging in and getting the 3 points, backs against the wall, like. Didn't help that Gallagher got a red card, obviously, and it's we'll talk about the petulance and the stuff like that because it's really confusing me lately. Like our two captains, like Gallagher captain today gets a red card, Rhys James captain Newcastle gets a red card. It's Caicedo, stupid tackles on a yellow card. Decisive in the first half, like completely just. There was the one where he was like chasing this guy and he just wouldn't let him go and wouldn't let him go. Gives a free kick away. Getting yellow cards, like honestly, it's just the petulance in this team. The discipline needs to be sorted because that can cost you games itself, and we're very lucky it didn't today. But yeah, we are just happy and relieved that we get 3 points and that we can move on. If we somehow win at Man United, Old Trafford, I know they're terrible, but we never win there. If we do win there, we're still 2 points behind them, and they've been shocking this season, which shows how bad.
They're just the opposite of us. Like they are always bad and somehow still get wins, and we are almost all of the time pretty good, but never win.
Yeah, we did a Man United today, and we got 3 points when we was playing shit, in my opinion. But we take it.
Exactly. And by the way, I'm not sure if Yannick is here or if he will see this later, but remember that. He was calling Enzo Fernandez Flopenzo or whatever he was calling him the other day. Get in the bin, mate. Absolutely, like, just get in the bin. I did see some other comment here that I did want to highlight, but no, I forgot. There was also this other guy. Remember, Pi? Someone in the comments on Friday was trying to tell us that Martin will definitely start when we all knew he wouldn't. So, well, he didn't. But anyway, I just love people that are smart and like, yes, I am right, and there's no way I am right. I don't know. People are not. Anyway, Joe, thank you for being here. Let's see how the microphone works, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. Thank you for being here. My days, we don't do things easy, do we? Like, think of our most recent games. 4-1 against Spurs, 4-1 against 4-4, sorry, against Man City, 1-4 against Newcastle from our perspective, and now 3-2 against Brighton. Mate, 5 goals in 3 of our last 4 games, and that other one had 8 goals. What is going on? But hey, how do you sit here after that? Just happy that we won? How do you think the performance was? I guess it's difficult to really make too much of the performance, in my opinion, when you play nearly an hour or over an hour with that insane injury time with a man down. And I don't think it was, other than that we had very little possession, I don't think it was that obvious that we were a man down. Like in attack, sure, maybe. But in general, I don't think it was like as extreme as it is on other occasions when teams have, a man down for an hour. So how do you see it in hindsight, mate? Obviously, we'll talk about Gallagher and his sending off and stuff in more individually soon. But overall, happy, annoyed? Do you think it was a deserved win, a lucky win? What do you think?
So is the mic okay?
Yeah, actually is.
Oh, wicked. Oh, yeah. To be fair, I still a bit like when we went down to 10, I thought there was, I didn't have much faith we would keep it as a win, in all fairness. So the fact that we've done that, I'm absolutely buzzing for. But, it's like you said, petulance. It just seems to be like discipline in the team is just not really there at the moment. I don't know what's doing that. I don't know if it's just the fact they're all young. But the fact is, that could have been a lot more comfortable than it actually had to be. But yeah, over the moon, we won. But I just think football in general, like that last bit before the final whistle, like what the hell was going on there with the VAR and all that sort of stuff? And it's just it's killing it. I don't know what it is. For me anyway, like I made a video on it. It just seems to be, it's kind of killing the game now. I think it's at the point now where we need to really seriously think about if we have it or not, because it's, they clearly can't use it right. But yeah, buzzing that we actually won it.
There you go. It was huge. Obviously, like Pies touched on, we got Man United on Wednesday. Who do we have on the weekend? Is it Everton?
Yeah.
There you go. So difficult games coming up still. Obviously, two away trips now. We just had to win this one. And we did in the end. And it started off so well. I was literally tweeting we had 4 centre-backs on the pitch. We better score from corners. I didn't necessarily think that it would be Enzo Fernandez that scored from the corner, but, we still scored from a corner. Enzo makes it 1-0, and then a couple of minutes later, essentially, we go and score another corner, this time Levi Colwill with the most hilarious celebration, because it was a goal line technology decision, even Colwill wasn't sure if it was over the line. Then the ref gives the goal, Colwill runs up celebrating, then remembers, shit, I just played for Brighton last year, stop celebrating. It's the most hilarious thing. But 2-0 up, you think you're absolutely flying, plain sailing, everything's lovely. And then we just take the foot off the gas a little bit. And we just let Brighton in the game more and more and more. They get one back, rather poor defending from Colwill. I don't think as bad as some people have made it out, but still fairly poor. Can't let him cut inside that easily. Great goal, to be fair. And then Gallagher gets himself sent off. And we'll talk about the lineup and everything else in a minute. And we'll talk about, I guess, his individual rating too. But I do want to start with talking about that sending off, because this needs to stop. I swear, Cucurella is already suspended for 5 yellow cards. Jackson had already been suspended for 5 yellow cards. Reece James, obviously, for a double yellow now. Did we have another red card before the season? I can't remember. Now Gallagher as well, obviously. This was our 46th yellow card. I don't know if we got another. We got other ones after that Gallagher one, but the Gallagher one, the second Gallagher one, was a 46th yellow card this season. It's December. I swear in seasons gone past, we never actually managed for any of our players to get 5 yellow cards before the cutoff point at New Year's. I'm sure it happened a few times, but there was seasons where we didn't have anyone on 5 yellow cards by that point and never had anyone suspended. Now we have 2 already, multiple red cards or double yellows in games. It's utterly believable. And yeah, Sterling is also 1 yellow card away from a suspension. It's unbelievable. I don't understand what these lot are doing. And the Chelsea fans that thought Gallagher was was unlucky or he was harsh that he was sent off, first of all, for me, both yellow cards are perfectly justified yellow cards. I don't understand how anyone thinks the second one isn't. He's kind of from behind him. It's tactical as well, because Brighton are in a counter. So even if you Enzo is not world class, all right, Yannick, calm down. Shh. Remember, you called him a flop. Where would we be without him today, mate? What was I saying? Oh yeah, Brighton essentially on a counter attack. He strikes him down, kind of from behind, nowhere near the ball. How is anyone saying it's not a yellow card? Aside from the fact that he had other challenges before in the game. He jumped on the foot of a Brighton player once. That could have been a yellow card. studs into the foot. Like, he was lucky that he wasn't sent off earlier, not unlucky that he was sent off. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. He was reckless all game long. He gave free kick after free kick after free kick away. And now I guess we didn't see it, but they certainly didn't show us. Like, the coaching staff, they lost their mind at the ref for sending him off rather than having the lack of accountability at this football club is such a disgrace. You should have told Gallagher to calm down. He was reckless from the first minute. The second he got yellow card that early, you knew it was going to be a problem. And we were lucky that Caicedo didn't get sent off as well, because he was also reckless all game long and started with his stupid, ridiculous challenges from the first minute. It's a joke. I don't understand why the discipline in this team is so poor. And then I have Pochettino after the Newhouse game. We need to get better at the dark cards. I mean, I guess better is kind of true because you need to get away with it. But no, we don't need to. There was a point in the game, like half an hour in, we had made 9 fouls. 9 fouls. Like, can we stop fouling maybe? Like, how about that? I don't know, mate. It pissed me off. But Gallagher, that was stupid. And you're a lucky boy that we still won that, because the reaction by the fan base, I'm sure, isn't particularly positive anyway. But if we lost that game after him getting sent off from being 2-0 up, my days, we would have lost our minds at him. Joe, I'll go with you. What can you even say about that? Like, first of all, do you agree that it was clearly 2 yellow cards? But also, like, what can you even say? How stupid does he have to be? Like, he knew he was on a yellow, and he committed multiple fouls after that could have seen him get another yellow. Like, why would you do that? I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree with both, in all fairness. It definitely was 2 yellows. I just think it's just the way that he plays. He's one of those players that are on, the borderline, could it have been down to... I don't want to put the blame on Poch and say, like, yeah, he should have, took him straight off. But you can't have a player like Conor Gallagher on the pitch, the way that he plays, and, expect him not to get a second one. What's that?
City Spurs is already 1-1. Son scored for Spurs, and then he scored an own goal.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm watching it now. The Son goal was good as well. But yeah, it seems to be, like you said, it's a pattern there that they do seem to lose, any sort of composure, really. And like I said, with Gallagher as well, like, when you got that armband, it's the same thing I said for Reece James, really. It shows lack of experience in that position. You should be the one leading. And, I thought Reece's one was probably worse because that was just nonsense the way that he got sent off. But with Gallagher, like, you're putting us under unnecessary pressure. And, the sad thing is, at least going forward, there weren't much of a difference. That was the worst thing I noticed. He weren't on the pitch, and it didn't seem like we missed too much, if you know what I mean. And I think he's leading every stat mark in the team, like retrieving the ball and all that sort of stuff. But he didn't seem to be missed. You know what I mean? Like, so. Yeah,
I'm not sure if we didn't miss him at all. Like, him as an individual, no, in attacking, but numbers we did. The longer the game,
yeah, definitely. You always put yourself under pressure, then, don't you? on the pitch and covering space and whatnot. But I think Caicedo is a very, very lucky boy. Really, really lucky, because I thought, you know what, I didn't realize that there was no one to replace him, because I wanted him to be hooked as soon as he got. I think he got the yellow, then he done another one. And I thought, he is on the edge here. He's going to go.
And he did another really bad one, which is such a clear yellow card. I'm baffled that wasn't given. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm baffled that it wasn't given.
Yeah, I think we could have easily been down to 9, but Conor Gallagher, and the same with Reece as well. They got to look at themselves a little bit and think, you know what, you've got a responsibility when you're the captain of Chelsea Football Club, and you should be leading from the front, and you can't do that when you're sitting in the dressing room being red carded.
There you go. I'll get to you, Pies. And like I say, same question. Thoughts? You touch on it anyway in terms of the lack of discipline, but more specifically on this Gallagher situation. First of all, do you agree with the decisions? But like, I cannot put my finger on why we keep doing this. Like I say, I absolutely agree with Joe and disagree with someone that I saw on Twitter saying that it was worse or more stupid than Reece's one. Absolutely not. Gallagher got himself at least sent off trying to win the ball. Reece gave the ball away and then was like, oh shit, trying to run after him and just drags him down for absolutely no reason. Okay, it was barely a touch and it was maybe a bit harsh, the second yellow one. But anyway, certainly I think Reece's was more stupid. But that doesn't make this one not stupid. And we just can't put ourselves into these positions. Like, we keep doing it. You could at this point argue we should be used to playing with 10 men by now, because the amount of times it's happened in the last 2 years is crazy.
Holland has just missed an absolute sitter, by the way. An absolute sitter. Torres would have been proud of that one. Torres would have been proud of that one.
Love it. All right, Pies, go on Gallagher's red card or 2
Yeah,
yellows.
I mean, it's stupid. I don't know what the coaching staff were on about. I initially thought he won the ball, and I saw the replay, and it's like, no, like
He wasn't even anywhere near, was he?
you've got to have some common sense, man. It's what I said about Caicedo's tackles. Like, just calm down. Like, I know aggression and intensity is a part of your game, but use your brain if you have one, because like it's just I just don't understand, man. Like, lack of IQ and common sense for some of our players. The last few games, like this cannot happen against Man United. We need 11 men on the pitch. Stop kicking the ball away. Stop, if someone gets past you, unless you're like actually taking one from the team in a situation where we need it, don't give away, get a yellow card in the first 15, 20 minutes. And then for the rest of the game, still be stupid and play as reckless as you are. Like, it's basic common sense. You see players get yellow cards all the time and then they tone it down and they're more smarter. These guys, but this comes from the manager as well, because he's the one who's got to set the discipline in the team, and he's the one that's got to control this team in a sense emotionally. Like, they're so emotional, it's crazy. Like, but this is obviously part and parcel of when you have a young team as well, so. But saying that, against Newcastle, Sterling was kicking the ball away, and he's like one of the oldest players. So I don't know, man. The manager's got to sort this out like quickly, because it's ridiculous. There needs to be some sort of punishment or something for the way some of these players are playing, because it's absurd. But then at the same time, it's like you've got the manager saying, "Oh, like we can't even do dark arts nowadays because of VAR. Like, we can't be nasty and aggressive." And it's like, well, we're playing like that now, so, but in a stupid way, like not in a good way, not in a smart way. So, yeah, that was the thing that annoyed me most today. It was just reckless, needless tackles and situations that we put ourselves in. It's just so stupid. Like the last game against Newcastle, where we specifically give them so many set pieces when they've got tall players. It's like, well, now against Brighton, you're giving them the ball more than they've already fucking got it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, so frustrating for me.
But we won, lads. That's the main thing, isn't it? We won.
Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. So we will get into the lineup in a second and talk about what we thought of that. Just quickly, ladies and gentlemen watching, there is a poll in the chat that asks, have you liked and subscribed yet? 68 people of you essentially said yes, even though there's only 33 likes. So stop lying and hit the like button for flip's sake. What are you doing? You can't say in the poll that you have and then not do it. So you better go click the like button immediately, by the way, and subscribe as well if you haven't already. That would be massively appreciated. But let's get the lineup up on screen. And Pies, I'll stick with you for this one. Thoughts? Obviously, Cole Palmer picked up some sort of knock, whatever. We're still kind of unsure whether it happened in the week and he's still trained to see how it's going. Because then there was rumors, is he gonna not even be in the squad? Then he all of a sudden made the bench at least and came off and still played a good amount. So no idea what really happened there. All of a sudden, Ugo Chukwu wasn't on the bench, so we didn't have another centre mid on the pitch. In the squad, I should say, because both of them were on the pitch, in Enzo and Caicedo. And of course, we didn't have a single fullback except Ian Martin, who was on the bench, because we had a back four of 4 centre backs. So thoughts on the team? Also, Jackson starting rather than Broja. Didn't get any motivation from a certain someone either. So didn't even help nothing. But yeah, thoughts on the team?
Pretty expected, to be honest. I didn't think Broja would start. Can't lie. Obviously, Palmer's injury was, not obviously that bad because he came on. So, yeah, that was probably the only surprising thing. I think we predicted the 4 centre-back lineup. Martin probably came on only because, we was trying to defend. So, yeah, no surprises in the lineup, really.
There you go. Joe, thoughts on the lineup? Obviously, like Pies said, not really a surprise, but still never ideal if you have to have a back 4 or 4 centre-backs, is it?
No, it's definitely not, especially going forward. I'm not too sure how I feel about the Levi Colwill as the left back. I know he had to do it today. The more I see it, the more I particularly don't like it. However, I will say that, I think Maatsen, I think he had an absolute mare when he come on. I thought that he weren't good defensively at all. You could see that they were attacking that side, and obviously it's not his natural position. He's probably used to defending on the back on the left. But I definitely think that you could maybe see why he's not getting in the team. But overall, yeah, there weren't much surprises in the lineup.
There you go. Fair enough. Let's just get into these ratings, shall we? And let's start with our goalkeeper, Rob Sanchez. Well, he nearly had an absolute monster howler when he failed to touch the ball or control the ball when it was slowly, easily passed back to him. But thankfully, he got it again before it went over the line and still managed to play to a teammate. So it was good. But I have to say, actually, I think he made a number of really good saves today. There was a fair few ones towards the end that I thought he did really well. And I don't think he can do anything about either of the goals he conceded. So for me, even though he conceded 2 goals, because he can do 0 about them, I thought his cross collection was really good. He also set up the Mudryk for when Mudryk won a penalty. That was a kick from Sanchez, if I'm not mistaken. So Sanchez was really good today, I would say. Some good saves, like I say. Because he still conceded 2 goals, I can't give him an 8, but I will give him a 7.5. Like I say, good saves, good distribution. Not all the time. There was a few bad balls in there as well. But, I mean, if you set up your teammate to win a penalty because he won with the goalkeeper or through on goal as the goalie, well, then you're going to get props for that for me. So, yeah, I'll say 7.5. Joe, would you go along with that at all? Do you think he was good? Or do you think conceding 2 goals, you then can't give a goalie as high as 7.5 of a rating?
No, in all fairness, I think that's pretty fair. In all fairness, I think that's the brain farts. It's a weird one. Like I just don't. It seems to be every game he does something like you just think, why is that happening? But apart from that, I think since he's come to Chelsea and become the number 1, I think that in terms of shot stopping, I think he's been very, very good. I think the only thing that lets him down sometimes is the brain farts and also his distribution at times. I think around the 90th minute, maybe just before that it started, I remember he kicked a few out straight outs, and I thought, this puts us straight back under pressure. But yeah, I think overall he made a good save towards the end of the game as well. Yeah, 7.5. I'd stick with that.
Fair dues. Pice, would you go along with it too, or do you think conceding 2 goals you then can't get that high of a rating as a goalie? Even if I assume you agree he can't do anything about the goals, because I don't see how he could. But what would you say about the rating?
Yeah, I'd probably go with a 7. Thought he was good. He made 7 saves as well, which was the most in Premier League game for Chelsea this season. His one,
really?
So that's good. I saw that stat. So yeah, he did well at the end. I thought they'll cross the. I think it was Adingra tried to. It was very clever. He tried to like put it over him because there was 3 Brighton players ready for a tap, and he caught that well. There was a couple of shots at the end. The free kick I thought was good to not spill. There was a couple of others on, it was a really wet surface as well. So I was panicking when they was drilling those low balls in, because I was like, something's going to spill, and but he kept hold of them well.
He did good, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. There was a couple of times where he kicked the ball out at the end, which really pissed me off. So I was trying to keep the ball at the end, man. We couldn't keep the ball, but yeah.
But the problem was obviously being a man down. It's also difficult to keep the ball, because if the opponent presses you, you have one less passing option than they have pressing option.
Yeah, no, he was trying to kick it up long to Broja though, and he just kicked it off the pitch.
Yeah, I'm not trying to excuse him. I'm just saying, even if he didn't put it out of play, we probably would have lost the ball straight away. Realistically. Yes, that is CFC Pies, and no, you can't have a signature. But thanks for coming, man. But let's get to our back 4 or 4 centre backs. Let's just go from right to left. Why not? Axel Disasi played at right back. I don't think he was that bad. Now, he did get made to look silly a couple of times in the second half once Mitoma came on. But in the first half, who was that guy that played left wing for them? Adingra, Simon Adingra. I don't think Disasi had too much of an issue. Now, obviously, he didn't necessarily do much going forward, but he's a proper centre-back playing right back. Like, he's much more clearly a centre-back, in my opinion, than Colwill. Like, you can see in Colwill, with the pace, with the acceleration, with the agility, he's a lot more suited to, if necessary, playing at full-back, in my opinion, than Disasi is. So he didn't get up the pitch, even though he nearly scored, in the sense of if Sterling's cut across managed to make it to Disasi, but Brighton cleared it. But we scored from the following corner, so you can't complain too much. But I still don't think Disasi was that bad, if I'm honest. I'm not really sure what rating to give him. His passing accuracy could have been better, 81%, I guess. Tackles, 2 out of 3. Ground duels, 3 out of 6. Aerial duels, 4 out of 6. I'll give him like a... Considering he is a centre-back playing out of position, I think I'm going to give him a 6.5. Pice, what would you give him? What did you think of Disasi today?
Yeah, I'd probably give him that as well. I was thinking that. I think, he did quite well. I think if it was Mitoma, then maybe it's different rating. Maybe we don't even win the game, because when Mitoma came on, he was cooking everyone at the end. I was a bit worried, and he came on quite early. So, yeah, but for who he played, I think he did quite well. Other than that stupid foul he gave away, which really annoyed me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was decent for where he played. I think you have to give him some credit. You know, he made a crunching tackle at the end, which got the crowd up like 5 minutes into extra time, which was good. And yeah, I think he made quite a few clearances from what I can remember as well. He seemed to be quite in the right position. I think at the end, I couldn't quite work it out, but for me, it was almost like Martin at right back, and then Disasi went into. So was it like a back three or something? I couldn't really tell. But
I think Martin just played right wing and just tracked back a lot.
Yeah, he was definitely, because Disasi was definitely in the middle at the end, and he made a few good clearances. So yeah, I'd give him 6.5.
There you go. JC and Yannick, can you just stop arguing? It's so annoying. Like, it's okay, Yannick. You don't like Enzo. You call him a flop. Do it somewhere else, preferably. But fair enough. JC does. It is what it is. Be happy that we won a game. Stop arguing about bloody Enzo Fernandez, whether he's world class or not. Get in the bin. Anyway, Joe, Disasi, 6.5, reasonable for you as well. What did you make of him? Obviously, it's always a bit difficult when players play out of position, because you're like, how much of a benefit of the doubt or whatever, like, credit do I give you for being out of position, or how much do I purely rate you on how you perform? But I still think a 6.5 is about right. What about you, bro?
Yeah, I think 6.5. I really rate him. I think he's actually a lot better than some Chelsea fans don't give him credit. I think since he's come in, I think he's looked really good. Today he served his purpose. He done what he had to do. Obviously nothing going forward really. But yeah, for me 6.5. I think that's really good. I think then, considering he didn't do nothing going forward. So yeah, and I think they did switch to a back five at the end, by the way. I think Maatsen was the right back. I think when he come on, I remember him putting up his hand, like showing 5 fingers. So, you know, I think he was. I think Poch did switch it to a back five, and but yeah, I think Disasi, I thought did do really well. I think in that position anyway. Hopefully we don't see it ever again, but because I hate players playing 8 positions. I can't stand it, but obviously needs must. But yeah, 6.5 I'll agree with.
There you go. Let's get to Thiago Silva then. Yannick in the chat, even though not that many people seem to agree with Yannick on things, said Thiago Silva was his man of the match. Now, he was certainly very good, and there was one outrageously good tackle in the box second half when like Brighton squared it in the box, and he just anticipated it. It's so outrageously well and just flew in with a wonderful tackle. He nearly had another bozo moment where he controlled the ball and kind of miscontrolled it, but he thankfully got his foot in again before Brighton were almost through a goal again, almost like a copy of what happened against Newcastle. It was close, but he cleaned up, so can't complain too much. 97% pass accuracy, only 1 pass misplaced, 2 out of 3 long balls, 2 out of 2 tackles, 3 out of 4 ground duels, 3 out of 3 aerial duels. I think he was very good. But then again, when you look at the stats, right, the overall game stats, and I see Brighton having 9 shots on target, 5 shots off target, 18 shots in total, I'm not sure how high of a rating I can give my centre-back, if that makes sense. Like, even though I think it was good, and I would want to say even something like maybe an 8 or something, but 18 shots against us, 9 on target. I'm not sure if I can go that high for Thiago. So I think with those stats being said, us still conceding 2 goals, I must say 7. Joe, maybe I would be convinced to go higher. And I guess obviously we had 10 men, to be fair. That is obviously part of why they had so many shots. That's true. Maybe 7.5, but I still don't think I can give him something like an 8. I don't know. This was too many shots against us for a defender to get that high of a rating for me. But how do you see it, Joe? Maybe you can convince me otherwise.
Well, for me, I probably would go an 8. Because the fact is, I think towards the end of the game, when it started to get a bit more intense and they were coming on to us, I think he made some big, tackles. And I think there was like an interception or a block. The thing is, as well, is that you're playing, it's a midfielder that we lost for the 10 men. So obviously they're going to have more space to play and try to get chances. So I wouldn't downgrade him because me personally, because we conceded, they had so many shots. But what I will say is, I think the one commentator said it, and even though I think it was the one that was ridiculous, who said that it weren't a penalty for Mudryk, that one, he did say, and I agreed with him when he said that as the game got more pressure on Chelsea, Thiago Silva stood up, and that's what you kind of want, especially when you got that, armband on. And that's what I keep saying about Reece, and I said it earlier about Gallagher. When Thiago Silva had it on, he stepped up and he, made some big blocks and whatnot. So for me, and I would go an 8, just because when it mattered, he stepped up, in my opinion.
There you go. Fair play. By the way, I have realized that I seemingly was wrong in saying that Sanchez directly played the ball to Mudryk. I think Darmesh in our group made me think that. So, Darms, be ashamed of yourself. My apologies. Seemingly wasn't directly as such. But there you go. You give him an 8. I will stick with my 7 for now. But if Pice also has good arguments for making it higher, then I might have to be convinced. And after talking about Thiago Silva, I will read out the Poch comment that you put here in this private chat, Pice. What would you give Thiago? I've said 7 so far. Joe went for an 8. What would you give him?
I was going to go in the middle. I was going to go 7.5. I don't think it was quite an 8, but he did make the most clearances in the match. There was a tackle at the end inside the box, which was just vintage Thiago Silva from a cutback. Pretty much prevented a shot on goal. Probably would have been a goal. And yeah, I thought he was like our most composed player when we had the ball, which isn't surprising. So yeah, I would go 7.5. I think he did really well today. He defended Evan Ferguson quite well, but I don't know about you guys, but I think Badiashile next to him was arguably even better today.
Yeah, Silva. He was very good.
Yeah, it's tough to say better. I think Silva was more clutch at the end, but maybe Badiashile just stood out a bit more until then.
He had more. I think he had way more like jaws. Like,
yeah,
I noticed him.
Like, I looked at the stats in a second, but you could well be right. Whether I change my rating now or not, it will stay at a 7.5 regardless. But I think it's okay if I move mine up to a 7.5 as well. So it's a clear 7.5 for Thiago Silva. Before we get into Badiashile, I want to read out this quote by Pochettino that Pice put in our private chat here. He asks, why 14, 15 minutes of extra time? I agree. Why? I have no idea. Why was 10 minutes given initially? Like, baffling. Like, okay, the penalty thing, that all took a while, but not that long. There was no injury that I can think of. So I don't understand why. I don't honestly have no idea why it took this. I guess Mudryk was on the floor for a second, but then he just was subbed off anyway. But Pochettino goes on to say, we are a young team. We need to leave this kind of experience with red cards. Leave this kind of experience with red cards. Man, learn English. Anyway, with time, we're going to improve and avoid this kind of situations. We have talent. We just need time. I'm sure we will get there. Yeah, the problem is how much time, mate. But hey, today we won, so we can't be too critical. Badiashile then, Joe, why don't you go first? What did you make of Badiashile? Obviously got the assist for the first goal. Hey, yes, I love him. He didn't have a great day against Newcastle, but obvious, first Prem game since God knows when he got injured. And today was the first home game. I thought he did well. Like I say, got an assist as well. What did you make of him today?
Yeah, I thought he played well. I think he did. I think he did look really good. Obviously building himself back up from the injury that he had. I gave Thiago Silva an 8, so I'd probably say 7.5 for him. Obviously got the assist as well. I think he since he's come in as well, I think he's looked really good. Up until the injury, big, strong, quick, bit aggressive as well. And today I thought he played really well. So yeah, 7.5.
Fair dues. I've just looked at the stats, by the way, and I agreed with Pice a minute ago that from memory, or from the eye test, I guess, we thought Badiashile had way more duels than Thiago. Turns out that wasn't true. Had less tackles, less ground duels, less aerial duels. So, yeah. And also he lost both of the aerial duels that he was involved in. So maybe he wasn't as good as I had him in my mind. But I still think I've pushed my silver rating to a 7.5. I will give Badiashile a 7. I could contemplate the 7.5 again because he got himself an assist, and an important assist, that early goal. But I still think 7. Again, Thiago was more clutch. And I know we're down to 10 men, but just because you're down to 10 men doesn't mean you need to concede 18 shots against you. So I'm not going to go too crazy high, but I think 7, maybe 7.5 is also good for Badiashile. 2 7 so far then. Pice, would you give him the same as Silva? Would you potentially give him even higher than Silva? Especially now that we found out we were apparently somehow wrong and he had actually less duels than Silva.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I thought he was tussling with Ferguson all game because it looked like Badiashile had like the responsibility to kind of step out, and then obviously Silva was kind of more reserved. And like you said, probably more clutch. But I don't know. From memory, I thought Badiashile was better. So it's a really strange one. But I think I'm going to give Badiashile 7.5 as well because I think he was really good today. But yeah, it's interesting seeing the stat line for sure.
It's weird, isn't it? But sometimes I also question: is it me that was wrong, or are the stats wrong? Because
my God,
stats sometimes are wrong. So, especially directly after a game, if you check back in a couple of hours, they might have revised some of the stats. That does happen sometimes.
Yeah, I do that all the time with my reviews. I say stuff in my reviews, and I sit down after. I think to myself, like, yeah, I don't think that anymore.
Yeah, it happens, bro. Especially when you record straight after. But yeah, with 2 7s for Badiashile, it stays 4-7, and we go to Levi Colwill.
I was 7.5 on Badiashile. I don't think it make any difference.
Oh, did you? Oh, then it does.
Yeah.
And he gets sorry, my bad. Let's give him a 7.5 then. Levi Colwill scored a goal, so we can't forget that because I've seen a lot of people be quite critical, and I'm like, let's not forget he scored, all right? And I know we should have defended better when Buonanotte scored that absolute peach of a goal, but it was also a good goal. Like, I know he can't let him cut inside that easily, but also, like, you can't defend everything. Like, it was such a good shot. If it isn't as far in the corner, Colwill gets a block in, or if it isn't as far in the corner, Sanchez saves it. Like, yes, it's not great, but I don't think it's as drastically bad as some people make it out. I agree he's not a left back, but I mean, if it was that simple to stop a cut, someone cutting inside, Ian Robben wouldn't have had a career. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not that simple. But still, obviously, should have done better. But with the goal, now similar issues that Disasi doesn't do enough going forward. But I still think in general he had a good game. I think in possession he was good. I think he moved himself through oppositions well. Sometimes there was good movements with Enzo as well, trying to play it out with Badiashile too. So with the goal, but still the defensive error, obviously, I will give him a 7 overall. Maybe people think that's too high. I don't really care. Scored, so I'm going to say 7. Pice, what would you say?
Yeah, I was debating between a 6.5 and 7. I think I'm going to go with a 7. The goal was good. You know, it was off the line. It was, you know, over the line, obviously, but off the line as well. And I liked how, he celebrated, then didn't celebrate. I thought it was quite funny. It was almost like a moment of realization. I think that was actually his first goal for Chelsea as well. I think pretty sure
it was his first Premier League goal ever, actually.
First Premier League goal, yeah. So big goal for him, and obviously probably got caught up in the moment. But yeah, the goal for me, I was not so disappointed he let him cut in. It was more like obviously I was annoyed he let him cut in, but it was more like he didn't really try and stick a leg out, and I thought he left sort of I don't know, he was just a bit sort of kind of lackadaisical. It was a bit sort of, he didn't put enough pressure on him, in my opinion, to stop him cutting in. So, yeah, that was what I was more annoyed by more than anything. But yeah, I'd go with 7, I think. He did well overall. Again, considering the position, it's like, you don't want either of these guys playing here. Please, can we... I know Cucurella had a yellow card, but again, that's down to discipline. Too many yellow cards. And today, obviously...
And especially with Cucurella, he only played the last, 6 or 7 games. He didn't play at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, so, we kind of face the consequences for that today in certain moments, but yeah.
What? But why? I don't understand this comment at all. Please elaborate. Among the 4, Silva was the worst, in your opinion. Interesting. You have... interesting opinions, but yeah, fair enough. Each to their own, I suppose. Joe, 2-7 so far. Levi Colwill gets his goal. How do you think? What do you make of the goal we conceded? Obviously, Brighton's first goal. How do you think he should have done better, or how bad do you think that error is?
I think he probably should have. He should have done better. It was more down to it was like he was. The guy was invited to shoot. Really, if you look at it, they were, and the same with Badiashile as well. They were both kind of not attacking, being aggressive with it. They were both standing off it. But obviously it was more down to Colwill being the left back. But I don't like him as a left back. I want to see him in as a centre back. I think we can all agree. I think he's going to be an absolute crazy good player. But I don't think he done anything terrible today. And I think the goal obviously as well. So yeah, I think a 7's a good rating. But I don't particularly like it as a centre back. I think it's time to maybe
as a left back. You mean?
Yeah, as a left back, it's not really. it don't work for me. It don't work. It don't give you enough going forward. And I think it is a massive position in today's football. You can look at Spurs, they play, for example, and their fullbacks are basically playing inverted strikers and inverted wingers. So it's a big position that you lose in if you play a very, very defensive-minded left back or right back, for example. So for me, hopefully it don't happen again. But I think today he was solid and he scored his goal, so I'll give him the 7.
Fair do. See, I was going to say, someone said, how is Disasi was better than Colwill. I do actually agree in a sense, except the goal. But I did forget about the second goal, because it was actually him that was like closest to stopping it as well. So Joao Pedro was his guy. So I will revert my rating to a 6.5 because it was kind of at fault for both goals in that sense. Will either of you lower yours to a 6.5 as well? I'm not sure if you had that in mind, that he was, well, if anyone could have stopped that second goal, it was him. So, Gido, if you want to reverse your...
Yeah, actually, I probably will. I think I gave Disasi a 7, didn't I? So I don't think... So if you take away the goal of Colwill and the fact that obviously there was the first goal for Brighton, he probably 6.5 probably. I don't think he was as good as Disasi in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I don't think he was as good as Disasi either, except the goal. Hence, I was like, well, 6 without the goal, give you a point for the goal, so 7. But I did forget that he was also in a way at fault for the second goal. I did forget about that. So there you go. Give him a 6.5. Before we get to Enzo Fernandez, let's do Caicedo. And I don't know how much I want to lower his rating, because he got very lucky for not getting sent off, because he should have been sent off with the second yellow card. And he was just lucky. So I don't know. There was moments today where I thought he was actually better than he's been recently. And I was like, finally, Caicedo actually playing good, like a defensive midfielder, like I want him to. He was making some good interceptions, winning the ball. Passing accuracy was decent with 90%. Won a tackle, but the ground duels, oh my days, I've only just seen that. 3 out of 11.
Bloody hell.
3 out of 11. My God, are you taking a piss here? Okay, with that said...
Did also make the most 7 ball recoveries and more interceptions than anyone with 4.
No, to be fair, I thought he played well. Apart from obviously, pretty much should have been sent off. But I thought I remember he won the ball back and played someone in. I can't remember who he played in. I thought
he intercepted the ball well a lot of times. That is true.
Yeah, and I remember he got it.
Only win 27% of your duels as a DM. Like, that's unacceptable. I'm sorry, but
do you think he'll stay as a DM when Lavia's fit? Do you reckon he might play as a box to box a little bit? I don't know. I've been thinking about that.
I don't see how. If Nkunku plays up front, maybe. But if Nkunku doesn't play up front, I don't really see how, because you're not going to drop Enzo. And
no.
Unless he drops Caicedo, I don't really see... Well, Caicedo can't play as a box-to-box, but I don't think we're going to play a midfield 3 with Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, unless Nkunku plays up front. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know if it would be down to the fact maybe Lavia is the hold in midfield.
Yeah, he's probably more of a hold in mid. I absolutely
agree.
And
those two run off him sort of thing. I don't know. I think there's a bit more in there with Caicedo. Obviously, he's a very good player.
Because right now, he's more playing like a £25 million player than 150.
You know what I mean? So there's more there. I think even going forward, I think there could be a time where you see him playing more, not advanced, but as more of a just standard number 8, maybe. I don't know. I have been thinking about that. Where does Lavia fit in? I know it's a different conversation, but where does he? He's obviously been offered something in it,
especially after international breaks, with these other 2 being from South America.
He's only 19 as well.
The problem is Caicedo and Enzo are only 22 as well, or 21.
Yeah, he's obviously been told something, because if Liverpool were in for him, he's picked us. I know Caicedo done the same. He must have been given some reassurances, surely.
I think we can. It was also about the long term with him though, because he's so young, and like obviously we can be more flexible. Like we can play a 4-3-3, of him as a 6, or Enzo as a 6, or Caicedo as a 6. Yeah, we don't have to play 4-2-3-1 every game. So
no, we don't. But if Nkunku doesn't play striker, then you kind of do have to.
Yeah, but he might end up playing like off the left.
Unless Palmer then gets dropped if Nkunku is there. I don't know if Palmer maybe doesn't start every game anymore. I don't know, but yeah. Let's not get too hung up on that. We'll figure that out once Lavia is actually fit, because for now he's never even played for us, so who knows? But Joe, Caicedo, what would you rate him? Because, well, yeah, certain stats don't look good, other stats look great, like Pies read out.
It's
But
weird
he also
because
should have been sent off. So what rating does that equate?
it is a hard one because, as I said, I thought he did play well, but obviously, I'll probably say 6.5, maybe 7. Oh yeah, 6.5. Just because I think towards the end, I don't know why I didn't look at this team sheet because I thought there was someone that we could bring on, and I was begging Poch to take him off at that point because it looked like he was a shoo-in for a second yellow, even after he should have been sent off. I thought he's still probably going to get sent off in a minute. He didn't seem to calm himself down at all. It was like he was playing without a yellow card. So, but apart from that, I think interceptions. I remember he done really. I can't remember who he played in, but he done like a really good. I think a tackle, or an interception, and he played a really good ball and set someone through. And I thought that class
that to Jackson, and then Jackson was offside.
It might have been. Yeah, it probably was actually. Because Jackson,
that's the only time I really remember through ball.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been that one. Yeah, and I thought he did play well, really. But towards the end of the game, if Ugochukwu would have been on the bench and say Poch didn't take him off, and then he gets sent off, in my review, I go absolutely ballistic about it.
This is why we need Lavia as well, isn't it? We need more. In midfield. That's why we need Carney. We need players back because at the moment it's just Enzo, Caicedo, and Ugochukwu comes on. He's very young.
Do you know at all, Pice, why he wasn't in the squad today? Is he injured or what?
Lavia's behind Nkunku in recovery, so I don't know when.
No, not Nkunku. Ugochukwu wasn't on the bench today.
Oh, no, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, there you go. Pice, Caicedo rating. What would you give him today? I wouldn't go as high as Joe did, but what about you?
I'd probably go a 6. I'd go a 6 because I think he had good moments and he had bad moments, and I think leveling everything out, he was. I don't know, because 6 is average. I felt he played better than average, but there was times in the game where I think lowers his overall rating. Like the he should have had a red card, and he was. How many fouls did he give away? It seemed like he gave away quite a few fouls.
Let me see. 3 fouls.
He won quite a few fouls in the first half,
and he won 2.
Yeah, he was good. He was good on the ball.
Yeah.
But towards the end, I was like, nah, like I need him taken off because I was really worried he was going to get sent off.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, we just had no control of the game. Through anyone, not just him. So
no, it's true. It's absolutely true. See, I was deciding between a 5.5 and a 5. I'll be perfectly honest. Not because, I think overall, if I take out the potential sending off, then I probably would have given him a 6 until I saw 27% ground yaws, 3 out of 11. That's dreadful. So that in and of itself maybe would have made me say 5.5. And then the fact that he would have sent off, I wanted to deduct 0.5 anyway. So now I'm between a 5 and a 5.5. I'll just say 5.5. That leaves us at an overall 6 with, 5.5, 6, and 6.5 as our 3 ratings. And we move on to Enzo Fernandez. Oh boy, did that feel good today. Who would have thought we turn up with a striker, 4 centre-backs, and then we score from a corner and it ends up. And what a header it was as well. And less than a minute later, he nearly scored another header from was it Jackson that played him in actually? So yeah, and then he obviously stepped up for the penalty again because Palmer wasn't on the pitch yet, even though he came on literally straight after the penalty, which was quite funny. But obviously, first penalty he took was away at West Ham. He missed. Today he scored, and it was a huge one because that 3-1, in my opinion, is the reason why we still won this game. Obviously, I know we conceded the 3-2 later, so you're saying obviously. But I think if it remains a 2-1 for much longer, I think we go on to lose the game. So winning that penalty and then scoring a penalty was absolutely huge. And also, with a lot of criticism recently, he's not getting enough goals and assists, getting 2 today. The shush celebration, absolutely loved it. I think in total, when I look at his stats as well, his passing accuracy was actually really poor, I'm seeing now. 70%. Only 26 out of 37. That's not usual from him. It's interesting. Long balls, 4 out of 7 is still decent. And his ground duels were much stronger than Caicedo, winning 5 out of 9, making it 56%. Seeing the passing accuracy takes it down a little bit, I guess, but I would still give him an 8, getting 2 goals. Both of them very important. The first one and taking a penalty to make it 3-1. So I've given an 8, even though seemingly some of the passing needs to be a little bit better. But I thought he ran everything today. He was helping out defensively. He was helping out offensively. He was everywhere. He was the only one that really had. I know you're talking about in terms of composure, at the back, we had it, but in terms of getting through Brighton, for me, it was Enzo. And Caicedo, when he got the ball, just passed it back. with a couple of exceptions, like for example that 1-2 to Jackson that Joe touched on, but then Jackson was offside anyway. So I thought Enzo was good, especially once Gallagher was off. Enzo was kind of doing Gallagher's and his own job in one role. So yeah, I think it was very, very good today, and very, very happy to see it. So an 8 from me. Price, what would you give Enzo?
Pretty solid rating, I'd say. Yeah, 8. 2 goals, the penalty. By the way, finally, a player goes down the middle. No one ever goes down the middle for any team, and it's the most underrated spot to put a penalty, because I swear to you, keepers never
Because
stay
you
in
just
the middle.
look too stupid when the goalie stands in the middle.
It's like a fear thing, I think, almost than anything. But Lampard used to put them always down the middle, a lot of the time. And
But Lampard never put them on the ground. I think on the ground in the middle is dangerous. Like if you're going in the middle, go high in the middle. But then obviously some people spy them, right? So it's also dangerous.
Yeah, it was a good penalty though. Good first goal as well. It's good positioning. He can get more goals, and this is great to see for him today. I thought he was good on the ball. When he had the ball, obviously, got stuck in as well. Really tried to get stuck in.
Like I say, much better dual rate than Caicedo. And I see people having a go at Enzo today. What are you saying about
he made
Caicedo?
quite a few good balls as well down the line. There was a couple to Jackson in the first half, which I was like, wow, how did he see that? Yeah. So, I'd give him an 8. He was solid. I thought he looked a bit leggy towards the end, but, we played a lot, and hopefully it'll be fine for next week.
Not even next week, Wednesday, in this case.
Yeah, well, next week still.
Because it was a Sunday game. Wednesday is quite a short turnaround, but there you go. Joe, would you agree with an 8, or do you think that's too high, or maybe too low?
I'm probably going to go higher, mate. I just think based on the fact, for me, Enzo was my man of the match. I thought he was very good today. Obviously he got the 2 goals. One was a penalty. I think there was times where he just completely controlled the game in terms of, when they were pressuring him and he was able to turn them and whatnot. I think that Enzo Fernandez is a fantastic football player. And to be fair, I pop in and out of the YouTube scene. I make my videos, but I'm just shocked that there's so many people that don't seem to, that says about him being overrated in that. I think I honestly do not see how you can watch that guy play football and think that we're lucky to have him at the club. Yes, you can. When I seem to find when I review a game and mention Enzo, it's not. I seem to put him on a different pedestal because it's not that I think he's overrated. I think he's so much more capable than what he does, but what he's doing at the moment is still so very good. I just think he's got that sort of like generational side to him, which I think gets thrown around a lot. I really rate him, and I think he had a really good game today, and he was my man of the match. So for me, it's got to be an 8.5.
Fair dues. Overall, that obviously still leaves us at an 8, but yeah, I agree. He's man of the match. I'm certainly not giving anyone higher than an 8. So yeah, there you go. Let's get to Gallagher, shall we? Pice, I think I'll let you go first, but this one is pretty quick and simple because he didn't do much before getting sent off either, did he? Pice, you there?
What is this, bro? Sorry, I'm lagging.
All good. Gallagher, it's a pretty quick one because he didn't do that much before getting sent off either, did he? I mean, ground duels 3 out of 7, which isn't actually bad. Crosses 2 out of 5. Hey, for us, that's not even bad. Passing, he had 94%, so it's not bad, but he didn't really do anything useful until he got sent off. The only thing I noticed him for all game long was making fouls, I'll be honest. So
yeah, he's got to get like a 1 for ruining the game for us.
Mate, I'd give him a 0, honestly, because what worse can there be than getting sent off in the first half, man?
Yeah, true, 0.
When you're captain as well,
0, slash shameful emoji if there is one. What are you doing, Gallagher? Seriously.
I mean, we could do an emoji, but I don't know which one is the best one to use.
Facepalm, probably. Fucking hell.
Facepalm. We can do a facepalm. Maybe a facepalm is more appropriate than a 0, because a 0, in a way, is obviously true because he nearly ruined the game for us, but also he still did some things before, so maybe a 0 is a bit harsh. But anything higher than a 0 feels too nice. So let's just give him a facepalm emoji. Joe, you on board with a facepalm emoji?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, mate. I just think it's the way that he plays, and the thing is, sometimes you watch him and he does run around like a headless chicken, and and he's just running and running and running. And that was kind of what happened today. He should have known better. You're captain of the club. The week before, the other captain got 2 yellows. You're sure Poch would have said something in the week about something along those lines. If you're on a yellow, come on. we're giving away these too many getting players, blah, blah, blah. You'd expect that to have been mentioned in the week, and he's got the yellow, and then he's just basically done a blatant yellow, and then he argued about it as well, and it's like, I don't know, it was mind-boggling. I don't understand. He clearly wasn't thinking at the time, because you've got to be better than that. So yeah, I'll just stick with the face palm, mate.
There you go. It's just so weird. Like, that tackle to me is like the typical tackle you make. And there's also a fine tackle to make if you're not on a yellow already, like stopping that counter attack. Like, you're trying to get the ball. Okay, you didn't get it. It happens. You take the yellow, we move. But when you're on a yellow card already, you just cannot do that. Like, and honestly, I would love to ask players in situations like this, like, did you forget that you were on a yellow in that moment? Because obviously in your moment, you're running after the guy. You're just like, I could get this ball. Let me fly in. And then he probably hits him. And then he's like, fuck's sake, I've already been booked. It could be one of those. I don't know, that in the moment you don't think, shit, I've already been booked or whatever. Then you just do it and it's too late. I don't know. I would genuinely love to know how you can come up with the idea of doing that if you're aware that you've had a yellow card already. Well, now I know you're taking a piss, Marna, because what do you mean? Gallagher gets a 7 from you. But anyway, we move on to Raheem Sterling. A bit lazy on a few occasions when I close him down or whatever, or chase after a ball. But he still had some good moments. He could have had a couple of assists where he crossed it into the box nicely, but just about didn't get to someone. And when I say cross, I mean like low cutbacks type thing. But he wasn't great. He had apparently 0 successful dribbles. I feel like I saw one that he succeeded, or that he dribbled and then played across. To me, that's a successful dribble. But anyway, I think I'll just give him a 6. I don't think it was bad enough that I'd give him lower than an average score, but I don't think he did enough to get higher. Maybe I could do like 5 or 5.5, but I think around that area, around the average area is okay. So I'll say 6 for now. Joe, what did you think of Sterling today?
Yeah, one of his quieter games, I think. I think, if you go into the heights of that City game where I thought at times he looked unplayable, he was nowhere near that sort of level today. So, probably average. It was a quiet game from Sterling. I think that obviously he had to track back a lot more once we went down to 10 men, which obviously don't help him. But against Newcastle in today, he seems to keep getting tackled. Like, he tries to take players on and they just seem to be able to, they read him very easy the past 2 games, where against, say, City, they couldn't touch him. He was up against Carl Walker for most of that game, and how good Walker is, and he had him all over the place. So yeah, I don't know. Was quiet. 6. I'm happy with. I agree with that one.
You know what? Actually, I will lower my rating. I will change my mind, and I know it's a bit extreme, but I'll say 5 because I almost forgot how much it annoys me how lazy he is sometimes. So you can still go with your 6, bro. If you want to.
I'm definitely sticking with 6. I don't think he was below that.
Yeah, no. The things like when he had the ball and stuff, I agree. He probably deserves that 6, but just not pressing, not closing down, being slow in tracking back, like, it just annoys me. And he does this week in, week out, other than when you play like the huge teams like City. And it's just like, you are supposed to be one of the leaders. I know you're not a captain, but you are one of the second most experienced player we have in the team. Just like, try. Like, you need to bloody try. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mudryk has his issues, right? Absolutely, he has his issues. But do you ever see Mudryk not tracking back? That's not a thing. Mudryk would track back every time and sprint his fucking lungs out up and down the pitch. Well, I see Sterling like, balls there, could easily get it. Nah, mate, can't be bothered. Like, those things annoy me, even if that doesn't mean he's bad. But just try harder, man. But yeah, there you go. A 6 from you is still reasonable. It's just, I get a bit annoyed by lazy players, I can't lie. Pies, how did you see Sterling's laziness today, and what would you rate him in total?
Was definitely there. I'd probably give him a 5, to be honest. I thought he was very poor going forward. Didn't complete many dribbles. Ran into a few players all the time. He was better in the first half. He had a couple of nice bits of link up with Jackson, but other than that, I thought he left Disasi and Martin at the end as well. Like a lot of the game Disasi's isolated because obviously he didn't track back. So yeah, it's disappointing from him. A bit lazy at times. Not one of his best games.
No, absolutely not. But hey, it's what we've... Sterling is almost the definition of the whole club, really. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's literally Chelsea at the moment. But there you go. 5.5 overall with 1 6 and 2 5s. And we got over to Mykhailo Mudryk. Won the penalty. Now, Could he have maybe shot rather than having to hope for the penalty? Maybe. But in the end, he won a penalty, a huge penalty. His pace is just ridiculous. But the best moment of the game was when he, is it a Cruyff turn? But I don't know. But he kind of controlled it with the back of his heel behind himself, turned really fast, like spun the player like mad, goes past two players, shoots, good shot, just wide. Good effort. Good effort. Had a couple of good dribbles as well, and then tried to cross it into the box, where he unfortunately never seemed to find anyone. But still, I mean, successful dribbles, 2 out of 6 is not a great ratio, but at least he completed some, unlike Sterling on the other side. Ground duels also okay. 5 out of 10 for a winger is not too bad. So I would probably, because he won the decisive penalty, I'm probably being a bit nice here by saying 7. But because he won the decisive penalty, I'm going to give him that. I just hope he keeps starting. Obviously, he looked like he had a bit of a cramp when he came off. I hope it's actually just a cramp and nothing else, and he's fit to potentially start again against United. Because obviously, with Gallagher being suspended and Lavia not being fit, and Nkunku also not being fit, and Ugochukwu not being fit, seemingly anyway, you'd probably expect Palmer having to play as the 10, and then you'll still need Mudryk and Sterling either side. So I hope he's fine. But yeah, I'll say 7. Again, I understand if some people say that's a bit too high. Fair enough. But yeah, I'll give him an 7, sorry, because he did win that decisive penalty and did have a few other good moments as well. Joe, what about you? Do you think I'm being too nice, or is winning that penalty enough? I agree with this, though, by the way, but from Shard. He is invisible most of the match, and I don't really know why. And this is the thing, when he plays for Ukraine, and I've seen him, he seems to not get the ball a lot. He seems to get the ball the least out of anyone. And the same thing seems to apply at Chelsea. And that's a bit strange. And I don't know if that's a him issue. Is it him not demanding the ball enough? Is it his teammates not trusting him? Is it his teammates not really knowing what he's going to do? Because I do find his movement a bit annoying and strange sometimes. I'm like, either go and run or stay. But the way he's like, I know the reason he does this, just jogging and waiting for the ball, because he's so fast. He's okay if he starts running once the ball is played. But I feel like you need to start the run to like make your teammate pass it, if that makes sense. So I have a few issues with that, but I still think a 7 is okay. What about you, Joe?
I'm probably going to go a bit lower than that. I think I'm going. If I gave Sterling a 6, again, like I think a bit like you said with the build up with Sterling and Jackson, there was moments early on, and that's pretty much what we're saying with Mudryk. There was moments. However, he did win the penalty, so I'll give him more than I gave Sterling. I'll give him 6.5. He's just really raw, and that's just the thing about him. He's very, very raw, and with the attributes he got, I think he's going to be a success in the Premier League. I think we've just got to be patient with him, and like you said, he needs to play. The more he plays, the better he'll get. And I think he will burst eventually, and he will be very good. I think, because he seems to be, getting there. And then he's at that moment. I think he scored against Fulham. He done that cross/goal against Arsenal. Then he had that period where he was out. So I don't know. I think more he plays, the better he get. But he's very, very raw, and I think we're gonna have to be patient with him. Very patient with him.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do just think every time he plays, he is our main threat. Every time he plays, I know he doesn't always do enough with it, but his pace, and whenever we play those balls over, whether it's a cross or along the line, he gets it every time. Like he just they're so scared of his pace. Like it's outrageous. So yeah, there you go. A 6.5 and a 7 price. What would you give him?
Probably. You know what? Considering I don't think it was a penalty, I'd probably say 6.
Oh, do you not? Can you explain that? What makes you think that?
I think it was just the coming together. I think Mudryk should have shot earlier. I don't think he took his legs out. That was the thing I was looking for. I was looking for leg contact. I just
there was leg contact though. There was.
I think it was a bit.
Mate, you can think that it wasn't enough. That's fair enough. But there factually was.
I don't know. I don't think. I knew it was going to get given when I saw the replay, which is probably bad because I don't. It was a penalty. Like I feel like the thing is as well is like if that's a penalty, why is it not a red card? Because it's denying a goal scoring opportunity. Give him a yellow. I don't understand that. So it's either a penalty or red.
The double penalty, right? Like for penalties they don't usually give. I know what you're saying, but like he was close enough to the ball, I guess.
Yeah, but what you're saying is if that's a penalty, he stopped him shooting in on goal, 1-on-1, so it's a red card, right? So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You could certainly see, but that tells you that the ref didn't want to give a red card. VAR sent him to the screen and he was like, okay, I have to. But he didn't want to give him a red card, did he? So double jeopardy. That's it.
Yeah, I think a couple of glimpses.
When you don't attempt to play the ball, that doesn't really exist. Pies is right in that sense. And so can I just explain what I think happened? Right, I think Milner tried to step in front of Mudryk to block Mudryk from getting to the ball, but Mudryk was so fast that by the time Milner stepped across, his foot hit Mudryk's foot. He didn't try to tackle him. He just tried to stand across him, and then their feet collided, and then Mudryk fell over. So that, in a way, it's a coming together. But for me, at least, I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but yeah, for me, Milner tried to block Mudryk off. Mudryk was already there, and then he kind of tripped him. So I think it is a penalty, but I was surprised that VAR overturned it, because usually, with the whole clear and obvious mistake and stuff, I didn't think VAR would count it as a clear and obvious mistake. But hey, I'm glad they did. So I'll take it. But there you go. I mean, Joe, just quickly, what did you make of that? Did you think it was a penalty, or what was your opinion on that anyway?
Yeah, I thought it was, in all fairness. But you just don't. To be fair, I don't. Some of these things that happen, I honestly don't really know anymore. Like with the handball rules, and it's like some seem to be given that when it's a certain thing, and some seem to not. And they with this as well. Like there's contact, so from now I just assume that there's contact. It's a penalty. Whether it was, I think it was really clumsy by Milner, and I don't think he intended to bring Mudryk down. But there was contact, and as far as I'm assuming, there's contact in the way that they're doing it now. It must be a penalty.
There you go. Pies, can you just remind me, what did you say a rating for Mudryk in the end?
Yeah, I said 6 because I don't think he was that involved. I do agree with you. It's been a common theme where he's not involved enough. And the times he does get involved, like that Hazard turn on the halfway line when he scored that solo goal, I was like,
and
wow.
You're like, why don't you do this more often?
Exactly. But I also I don't think we get the ball enough to him either. It's a weird one. I feel like it's a two-way thing. He definitely doesn't ask for the ball enough, but he does make a lot of runs, and he does there is
not always good runs. I have to admit, not always.
We should be getting him involved more. And like today, the one reason why I was annoyed with Sterling was because it seemed to every time we got the ball it was Sterling and Jackson down that side, not Mudryk. So I'd go with 6. Also because I don't think it's a penalty, but. There you go.
Fair enough. If you don't think it's a penalty, I understand why.
I mean, I'm not complaining. We got a penalty, but
I think Mudryk as well. I think Mudryk would benefit massively from playing with when he plays with an attacking left back. Because obviously when they're with the overlaps and stuff like that, say with like a more Ben Chilwell maybe than say Cucurella. I think that takes the pressure off him. He gets isolated a lot because there's no one bombing up beside him to draw defenders away from him. And a lot of the time, it does seem like if there was the overlap and someone like a Chilwell, Cucurella was bombing past, they would draw to them and then give Mudryk more space to work. I think he would benefit massively from having a bit of help.
Honestly, I don't think he's worked with either of them, especially not Chilwell.
I agreed. I used to agree with that, Pies, because Mudryk always seemingly wants to be in the wide areas, but Mudryk is coming more and more inside at the moment. So the more and more I see him play, the more I think he could work with Chile, because he does drift inside more and more, and I don't really like that though.
I don't really like that because I think Mudryk is an out-and-out winger. He should be hugging the touchline, and
that is true as well.
There was a moment in the game actually I just remembered where he was literally on the halfway line. He just started sprinting and put an amazing ball in where they still made the save. It was just after we conceded, I think. That was that is pure Mudryk for me. That's what he should be doing 5, 6, 7 times a game. And unfortunately, we just don't get it enough. But, it's not just on him. But that's where I want him, out exactly on the wing where he can isolate these fullbacks and just run at them because no one's catching him. Prime example was that.
Yeah, I hear you. But if there is a good fullback to help him, then there is the space between the fullback and the centre-back that he can dart into. And then he can even be more direct at goal. So... But obviously, it's difficult because we all know he's raw. So, whatever he's done so far, he can be molded into a lot of different things as an attacker still because of how raw he is. So, it's almost up to the manager to direct him in a direction. But I still hear what you're saying. There you go. Give Mudryk that 6.5 in total. And let's go to the final starter in Nicholas Jackson. Well, He played one good ball across that almost fell to Colwill, but still he saved it. He did assist Colwill's goal by getting it across the box from that header. So I guess he did something, but I still don't think he was any good. If I'm being
Didn't get
perfect.
enough motivation, did he? That's the problem.
No, it's the problem. It's all Astrid Wett's fault, really.
I can't get over that. That is fucking mental to me, man.
It's difficult. It's never quite there at Chelsea, is there? I mean, it's passing 8 out of 9 passes, but that shows enough in and of itself. 3 out of 10 duels, nearly as bad as bloody Caicedo. But he's a striker, so he does a bit more let-offable, not a word, but you get what I mean, than for a DM. But yeah, because of the assist, I'm going to give him a 5. But even that's being nice, if I'm being perfectly honest. I could be getting him a 3. But yeah. Before I ask you guys for a rating, Laurenz, would you take Lukaku back at this point? A simple answer is no. But Pice and Joe, why don't you reply as well? Pice first, would you take Lukaku back at this point?
My answer begins with F and ends with F as well. F
Yeah,
off.
Yeah.
I think. I think.
Okay, man. I honestly, I've been sucked in by this guy before. I'm never doing it again. He can score 50 goals in Serie A. He can do one. Honestly, I hate him. I hate him now. He's just useless, bro.
I despise the man. I despise the man. I would rather we get relegated than he ever put a Chelsea shirt on again. Honestly, maybe that's a bit extreme because I don't want to get relegated.
I was gonna say, I'd rather have Alonso do left back shifts again. I can't lie.
Yeah, literally.
Or Werner in attack. Bring Werner back over Lukaku.
Yeah, I agree. Timo.
Too much baggage there, isn't there? Really, for me, I think there's just way too much baggage. I think I said, as Pice said, we've all been fed this fucking, this dream by him before, and it's fairy tale and whatnot. When he came back, I thought that was it. I thought for months at work, I was saying this: he will be the final piece of the puzzle. And he just come and done that, and then we picked from, if you listen to reports, we picked him over Haaland. So read into that what you wish, really, because I think we'd be a hell of a lot better off now if we had him, even though he just done that earlier in the game. If we would have got him for 200 million than what we paid 100 for Lukaku.
Yeah, there you go. But Joe, rating for Jackson, I said 5. That's probably being too nice, arguably. I could probably put it lower, but hey, we won, and I don't want to be too negative.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, to be fair, mate. I don't think he did too much. I want to give him a chance, and I want to same with Roger as well, but I think it's inevitable that we go out and we spend big money on a striker. I honestly think, whether that's Osimhen or Tony, I don't know if I can see a future where he is on that world class top of the list, tier player. I just don't think it's going to be there. I know he's still young, but I don't know. I'm not completely sold on him, so I'll probably agree with you.
There you go. Pice, 2 5s so far. Again, someone, Gary Milburn here, for example, said 4. What would you give Jackson today, bro?
I mean, Ollie gave him a 5 in our player ratings. I did on my side. So,
for me, it's purely because he got that assist.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like with Jackson, it's like, it just doesn't get. I feel like he got involved way more in previous games than he does now. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't really get involved enough for me now. It's weird because in the first half, the times where he did get involved, I thought. He did well with Sterling down that side, first 20, 25 minutes. I think it was a couple of passages of play. But other than that, he didn't really do much. See, I'd probably go with like a 5 or something. He was definitely below average.
Yeah.
Or was he average? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
No.
3 out of 10 duels. Yeah. 9 passes in the whole game? Like, nah.
Yeah, no, he didn't get involved enough, to be fair.
There you go. Obviously, second half, especially not helped by us being a man down. Obviously, that would limit the touches for all attackers. I'm aware. But still, also before that, he wasn't great. The subs, obviously, we made a few subs quite early. Cole Palmer came on for Sterling in the 66th minute. Ian Martin came on for Jackson in the 72nd minute. And then played right wing, and kind of Mudryk was up front for a little bit. And then Mudryk was replaced by Broja. Shall we give any of them even a rating? I can't tell you anything about Palmer. I know he helped a lot defensively, but I'm not sure what rating I give him. Martin, I'm like, you weren't great. And
I don't want to be a hater, but I thought he was really poor, Matson, today.
Martin wasn't good, but he did play on the right.
That's the thing, innit? You can't really judge him on it, but I thought...
But that's the only position he's played for us this season. Let's be real.
I think he was right wing back. I'm pretty certain he was meant to be the right wing back. I think when he come on, I saw him. You put his hand up. That's a signal 5.
Yeah, but the right wing back, right winger, for a left back, same thing, really.
Right? Yeah, true.
But yeah, I agree. Maybe we should speak about it verbally rather than giving out ratings. But yeah, Martin wasn't good from Broja. There just wasn't much because there was like 10 minutes left. I know obviously there was injury time then, but it was all Brighton and we were hanging on, right? So there wasn't that much to do for Broja. He was fighting, got himself a bloody nose, arguing with the ref about having to come off because of his bloody nose and all sorts of other things. But yeah, there you go. The one thing I want to finish it off with is a rating for Mr. Pochettino. I guess we'll put him down with Sanchez here because there's the most singled out space. What do we do? Pice, I'll let you go first before I say anything. What would you give Poch on the day?
I'll give him a 5, to be honest. I thought the performance was pretty shit.
But do you think that is the manager's fault?
Yeah, because I think he's got to sort of discipline out in this team. So I think that comes from him. So yeah, I'd say a 5. Did better in the second half. I could have gone lower, honestly, because I was quite annoyed with this game, but the second half, he did make some good sort of adjustments and we were more solid defensively. So, yeah, I do think we were lucky today, though. Very lucky. So, yeah, I'm not very happy. I'm just happy we got the 3 points. But if we're like that against Man United, I'll be fuming. Honestly, I'll be fuming because...
Well, if we're like that against Man United, we'll win 4-0 because United are way worse than Brighton.
I don't know, man.
The problem is we won't be like this against United. We will probably have a few bozo moments again. But
just don't perform like this again, please. But
no,
yeah, please especially at home, man. Like, come on, you've had a week rest at home, and
and Brighton played Thursday. Let's not forget.
Yeah, there's too many circumstances for me, which I can't give them high rating at all.
Yeah, there you go. Fair enough, Joe. Pice said 5. Would you go that low?
No, I'd go in. It would have been if Caicedo. I know there weren't any true options for him to take Caicedo off, but if Caicedo would have got that second yellow card, I would have dropped him significantly lower. I'm going to say average of 6. I don't think he'd done anything particularly. He'd done the best he had. Let's not forget he had no fullbacks really, did he? So we managed to get.
I mean, he could have brought Martin on for left back and put Colwill in midfield as a DM. He could have done that.
He could have done that. And he could have played Caicedo at right back. I did predict that. I tried to be a bit out there with my team sheet in my preview, and I had Matson at left back and I had Caicedo at right back. I don't think he done the best he could. We got the 3 points. But if Caicedo would have got sent off, then it would have been a lot lower, because I think the game management by him would have been so poor, because it was clear to see that Caicedo's head was gone in many ways, because he just kept making the same mistake, kept making fouls. So for me, I'm going to go 6 at average, but it could have been less for not taking Caicedo off at one point. I know.
There you go. 6, did you say?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah. I probably would have also gone with a 6. For the reasons that, how do I put it? Because I think until we went 2-0 up, we actually played really well and set up really well. Like Brighton, I know the Zerbi said that they were better from minute 1 to the last minute. We had them absolutely on smoke until our second goal, because they didn't do anything. They weren't anywhere near our goal. No, sure, they had a lot of players missing, but no one gave us that excuse when we had 10, 12 players out. So they're not getting it either. Also, they brought half of these players on in the second half. So it's only half of an excuse anyway. Let's be real. Because I do think that the initial setup worked really well. The way we pressed, not press their back line, but press their midfield, win the ball back in that sense. We had some nice attacks as well. They didn't quite lead to goals, but in the end, they led to corners and we scored from those. So I don't have too much of an issue with it. And yes, I can criticize the manager for the way we take our foot off the gas when we do take the lead. But I think that's also part of what the problems you get when you have a very young team. I think they stand the foot off the gas, especially when you're struggling with inconsistencies. They get a bit nervous, like almost nervous to win, because they're like, oh, we could actually win today. And that almost makes you scared of attacking, of being aggressive, because you could concede and then everything could fall to pieces again. But I'm not sure if, like, the manager can try to stop that, but I'm not sure if it's possible with a really young team. I think it's just a natural reaction. What I do agree with, though, and which is why I'm not giving him a higher rating, is that the discipline comes from him. Him saying, oh, we need to be better at the dark arts and all this kind of crap, right? No, you need to tell them to stop getting sent off. That's what you need to do. Like, this is a joke. And also, like, when I seen Gallagher be reckless all game, you seen Gallagher be reckless all game, tell him to stop being reckless. The same with Caicedo. To be fair, Caicedo did calm it down a little bit after the time he should have been sent off. He calmed it down after that. But still, those things he needs to control. I also think we could have controlled the game a little bit better being down to 10 men. But the problem was obviously not having another midfielder, right? I think he would have liked to take Caicedo off, but because Caicedo had to then at some point be careful, but we couldn't replace him, then obviously you're going to start losing the midfield battle more and more. And that's kind of what happened the longer the game went on. And then obviously getting 10 minutes of injury time, then they couldn't score that 3-2. Of course, we're going to be nervous, right? But I think the initial tactical setup until Gallagher was sent off, or until we had scored the 2-0 and then the team just let off a little bit, I think until then it was very good. So there's the positive, but there are also a few negatives, hence why I'm going to give him a 6, which is my logic. But at this point, I think it's about time we wrap this one up, ladies and gentlemen. And hey, at this point, we got a win. We play again Wednesday. I'm buzzing that we have a midweek game. I hate waiting to the weekend every time. So I'm happy about this. Hopefully we can get another dub at Old Trafford. It will be the first time in a very long time. But yeah, please do check out both Joe and Pice down in the description below. Pice's website, londonsfirst.com, as well as his Twitter. And of course, Joe's channel, Joe Neil Zecker. Link is down in the description, the OG of YouTube. Please do check him out. As well as his Twitter, of course, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that yet. That would be massively appreciated. Hit that like button on your way out. That really helps me spread these streams out to more people. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. It's kind of natural now that I say upwards and onwards, but not really needed so much today. Still, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.